Shatabhisha Nakshatra, cognitive subconscious patterns, audio, visual, and kinesthetic. Each person processes life through dominant sensory patterns: auditory, sound, words, internal dialogue; visual, images, symbolism, spatial awareness; or kinesthetic, emotion, intuition, physical sensation. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, disruption, depth, unconventional perception, and symbolized by the circle or 100 physicians, healing, mystery, containment, most strongly leans toward a kinesthetic and visual-symbolic subconscious pattern. These natives tend to absorb the world not through words, but through inner sensations, emotional atmospheres, and abstract imagery. Their cognition often feels like decoding a code, sensing hidden layers of meaning beneath what's visible. While they can hear tone and language, their primary downloads often happen beneath sound, in the nervous system, the body, or sudden visions. Their processing is nonlinear, intuitive, and often tied to healing, anonymity, or altered states. Planetary placements in the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 10th houses reveal how this pattern takes shape. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the style is deeply visual-symbolic, with flashes of insight, pattern recognition, or futuristic thought. These individuals often see the unseen, abstract systems, energetic grids, or spiritual symbols. In Shatabhisha, Rahu gives them a mind that downloads wisdom rather than constructs it. If Rahu is in the 10th, they are seen as visionaries or disruptors, those who operate outside conventional formats, often misunderstood but ahead of their time. If the moon is in the 4th or 5th house, the subconscious pattern becomes intensely kinesthetic emotional. These individuals absorb emotional fields, ancestral trauma, or collective psychic noise. In Shatabhisha, moon makes their inner world rich and deep. They may struggle to explain what they know, but feel it with full body certainty. If moon is in the 10th, they are seen as emotionally complex leaders, quiet, sensitive, and often healing others just by holding space. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, auditory patterns may become more pronounced, but still filtered through abstraction. These individuals might process sound or speech in fragments, noticing what's not said as much as what is. In Shatabhisha, Mercury functions like a subtle decoder. They don't respond quickly, but when they do, their insight is unexpected and sharp. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are seen as unusual communicators, those who speak truth in paradox or metaphor. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the pattern is kinesthetic through silence, structure, or solitude. These individuals often process best in isolation, through bodily memory, physical symptoms, or quiet repetition. In Shatabhisha, Saturn brings a protective shell around deep perception. They may not even realize how much they're absorbing until something triggers it. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are seen as quietly powerful, those who work behind the scenes, sensing more than they show. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the processing can become more visual mystical, especially through dreams, symbols, or esoteric frameworks. These individuals may understand the world through mythology, astrology, or spiritual systems that speak in image and archetype. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter adds intuitive wisdom, Venus adds harmonic resonance. If either is in the 10th, they are known for soft power, those who gently shift paradigms through aesthetic, spiritual, or healing gifts. Shatabhisha's cognition is like a sonar system moving through fog, quiet, deep, nonlinear, and layered. These natives don't just think, they scan, sense, and download. Their minds move across dimensions, often pulling meaning from silence, paradox, or disruption. Their growth lies in learning to trust what they perceive beneath the surface and learning how to translate it into something others can grasp. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the psychic technician, the one who repairs, rewires, and reimagines what can't be understood through logic alone. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, motivation direction, towards versus away from. Some individuals are driven towards seeking transformation, discovery, success, or personal mastery. Others are propelled away from, motivated to avoid pain, exposure, chaos, or emotional vulnerability. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, obsession, disruption, karmic hunger, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, containment, restoration, hidden wisdom, tends to lean toward an away from motivation in its early expression, especially as a form of self-protection. These natives are often hyper-aware of emotional, social, or psychic dissonance and develop a deep need to avoid environments or experiences that feel unstable, false, or invasive. However, as they evolve, Shatabhisha can shift into a powerful towards motivation, drawn to healing, truth, self-mastery, and spiritual knowledge, often on unconventional or solitary paths. Planetary placements in the 1st, 4th, 6th, and 10th houses shape how this motivational polarity is expressed. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the native often exhibits hyper towards motivation, but it can be ungrounded or erratic. These individuals may chase fame, knowledge, healing, or transformation, but often without fully understanding the emotional cost. In Shatabhisha, Rahu creates an insatiable drive to become something meaningful, often motivated by what they lack. If Rahu is in the 10th, this manifests publicly. They're seen as intense, future-focused leaders, sometimes polarizing, always driven. If the moon is in the 4th or 7th house, the motivation leans strongly away from, particularly in emotional or relational dynamics. These individuals often act to avoid overwhelm, rejection, or vulnerability. In Shatabhisha, moon makes them inwardly sensitive. They protect themselves by withdrawing, observing, and masking their feelings with logic or silence. If moon is in the 10th, they may appear emotionally calm or aloof in public, motivated to maintain control over their image and emotional exposure. If Mars is in the 3rd or 6th house, the direction is usually towards, fueled by discipline, action, and personal intensity. These natives are often motivated to fix, conquer, or prove. In Shatabhisha, Mars adds grit. They push forward not just to win, but to survive or transcend their wounds. If Mars is in the 10th, they are known as determined and strategic professionals, those who rise through persistence and sharp focus. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the motivation is often away from, especially through duty, fear of failure, or karmic responsibility. These individuals may act to avoid instability, moral error, or emotional chaos. In Shatabhisha, Saturn adds internal gravity. They're careful and calculating in their choices. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are seen as stable but emotionally distant professionals, motivated to uphold order and manage complexity behind the scenes. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the motivation can shift into towards, particularly when purpose, truth, or beauty is involved. These individuals are moved by meaning, ethics, and the possibility of healing themselves and others. In Shatabhisha, Venus adds compassion. Jupiter brings spiritual expansion. They pursue growth when it's tied to inner truth. If either is in the 10th, they are known for offering vision, mentorship, or creative leadership from a space of depth and care. Shatabhisha's motivation is like a storm that clears the air, sometimes withdrawing, sometimes chasing clarity with relentless force. These natives are often pulled away from what's false or fragmented and toward what feels pure, transformational, or sacred. Their growth lies in recognizing that their instinct to protect is also a call to evolve, and that healing comes not only from what they avoid, but from what they dare to face. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the silent seeker, moving through life with fierce discernment, motivated not by fear or fame, but by the soul's drive to purify, reveal, and rise. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, understanding chunk size, big or little. Some individuals prefer understanding life in big chunks, absorbing overarching systems, abstract meaning, or spiritual truths. Others process in little chunks, through detailed steps, logic, and careful sequencing. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, expansion, complexity, mystery, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers. Wholeness, fragmentation, containment leans toward a big chunk style of understanding, but in a nonlinear, intuitive way. These natives tend to grasp broad energetic patterns, karmic cycles, and the symbolic structure of a situation, often without being able to articulate the steps. They learn through insight, vision, or disruption, absorbing meaning all at once, like a psychic download. However, when destabilized or uncertain, Shatabhisha may temporarily shift into little chunk mode, obsessively analyzing fragments or scanning for order within chaos. Planetary placements in the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 10th houses shape how this oscillation between expansive vision and microfocus is expressed. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, The understanding is big chunk through intuition and symbolism. These individuals often just know things, but may struggle to explain how. In Shatabhisha, Rahu adds mystique. They perceive complex emotional or spiritual patterns that others miss. If Rahu is in the 10th, they're seen as unconventional thinkers, those who hold large, visionary ideas that challenge norms. If the moon is in the 4th or 5th house, the learning style is still big chunk, but emotionally guided. These natives absorb meaning through mood, memory, and energetic tone rather than factual logic. In Shatabhisha, moon adds emotional layering. They remember how something felt more than what was said. If moon is in the 10th, they're seen as intuitive guides, those who understand people or dynamics holistically, often without formal explanation. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, the mind becomes more little chunk focused, especially in technical or communication-driven environments. These individuals prefer breaking things down, organizing chaos into clear concepts. In Shatabhisha, Mercury adds structure to the abstract. They try to translate their intuitive knowing into language. If Mercury is in the 10th, they're seen as articulate troubleshooters, people who bring clarity to confusion without losing nuance. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the style becomes little chunk through mastery and control. These natives work to impose order on complexity, understanding through repetition, responsibility, or structure. In Shatabhisha, Saturn adds groundedness. They slow down to integrate the intangible. If Saturn is in the 10th, they're respected for turning abstract insight into reliable systems, though they may be overly rigid when feeling vulnerable. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the understanding leans back toward big chunk, especially through philosophy, art, or spiritual truth. These individuals process meaning in wide arcs, looking for patterns of purpose, justice, or beauty across time. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter brings wisdom through expansion. Venus brings meaning through aesthetic or emotional coherence. If either is in the 10th, they are admired for visionary teaching or creative leadership, those who see the whole and gently guide others toward it. Shatabhisha's mind is like a constellation of insight, best understood all at once, rather than traced point by point. These natives often synthesize knowledge on a soul level before they consciously understand it. Their growth lies in trusting their intuitive knowing while developing language or systems to share it with the world. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the cosmic analyst, holding space for the vastness of healing while organizing just enough of it to transmit truth, clarity, and deep transformation. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, attention direction, self or others. Some individuals focus their attention primarily on the self, tracking their inner thoughts, emotional states, and personal alignment. Others are oriented toward others, observing social dynamics, emotional shifts, and external expectations. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, intensity, detachment, karmic fixation, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, boundaries, observation, psychic sensitivity, tends toward an inward-focused attention style, especially in early stages of development. These natives are often deeply preoccupied with their inner world, their healing, their mystery, their identity, or their control. They pay close attention to how they appear or feel, often scanning themselves for inconsistencies or emotional vulnerabilities. However, Shatabhisha's deep perceptive ability also gives them an others-focused gift, particularly in group or collective settings. They can become highly attuned to what's unsaid in others, sensing energetic fractures, emotional dissonance, or hidden wounds. Planetary placements in the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th houses show whether their focus remains internal or shifts outward with purpose. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, attention is strongly on the self, especially identity, power, and personal evolution. These individuals often fixate on becoming something or someone meaningful. In Shatabhisha, Rahu intensifies self-awareness. They may constantly compare themselves to an internal ideal. If Rahu is in the 10th, this focus becomes visible. They are seen as ambitious or enigmatic public figures, often concerned with their role, image, or karmic purpose. If the moon is in the 4th or 7th house, the attention turns outward toward others, particularly in emotional or relational dynamics. These individuals absorb subtle shifts in tone, silence, or energetic withdrawal. In Shatabhisha, Moon brings emotional radar. They sense what others don't say. If Moon is in the 10th, they are emotionally responsive in public. They may lead with sensitivity but guard their private core. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, attention shifts between self and others, depending on context. These individuals may mentally track both internal thought and external feedback. In Shatabhisha, Mercury adds analytical subtlety. They pick up contradictions in communication and filter them through internal logic. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are perceived as intelligent observers, those who speak sparingly but insightfully. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, attention may remain self-contained, with external observation used more for duty than emotional engagement. These natives monitor themselves and their environment for stability and control. In Shatabhisha, Saturn adds restraint. They look inward to manage outer chaos. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are seen as dependable but distant, often managing systems and people without becoming emotionally entangled. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, attention can expand toward others, especially in teaching, healing, or spiritual roles. These individuals may shift their attention outward when moved by compassion or higher purpose. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter adds ethical concern and Venus, empathy. They begin to observe others not to protect themselves, but to uplift. If either is in the 10th, they are known as subtle guides, those who help without overt authority, sensing what's needed before it's spoken. Shatabhisha's attention is like a psychic sonar, constantly scanning beneath the surface. These natives begin by tracking themselves, their healing, and their complexity, often with intensity or secrecy. But as they mature, their attention shifts outward, not to please, but to perceive and protect. Their growth lies in using their perceptive power to serve collective healing, not just their own evolution. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the intuitive sentinel, aware of self, attuned to others, and able to hold space for what the world cannot yet name. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, frame of reference, internal or external. Some individuals operate from an internal frame of reference, trusting their inner knowing, emotional landscape, and intuitive signals. Others function with an external frame of reference, looking to authority, feedback, or social cues to guide behavior and decision-making. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, the seeker, the outsider, the disruptor, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers containment, mystery, collective healing, leans strongly toward an internal frame of reference. These natives often rely on deep, unspoken knowledge that arises from emotional, psychic, or existential depth. Their worldview is formed from within, through introspection, crisis, or inner awakening, rather than external validation. They question systems, resist mainstream influence, and feel compelled to find answers that speak to their personal truth or karmic imprint. However, because Rahu also represents a desire to be seen or recognized, they may temporarily engage with external referencing, especially when trying to find belonging or validate their unique identity. Planetary placements in the 4th, 7th, and 10th houses influence how this inner-external tension plays out. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the frame of reference is deeply internal, but often distorted by craving, ambition, or unresolved identity work. These individuals chart their own path, often rejecting external norms, but may still seek approval without realizing it. In Shatabhisha, Rahu intensifies their inward pull. They listen to their own voice, but are haunted by how the world hears it. If Rahu is in the 10th, they're seen as unique or rebellious in public, struggling between doing things their way and wanting outer validation. If the moon is in the 4th or 7th house, the reference becomes internally emotional, yet more relational. These individuals check in with how they feel before responding, but are also sensitive to emotional feedback from others. In Shatabhisha, moon adds vulnerability. They feel safest when their inner truth aligns with outer peace. If moon is in the 10th, they are perceived as emotionally intuitive leaders, those who guide from an inner compass, yet adapt when connection is threatened. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, the frame of reference becomes more externally flexible. These natives may toggle between trusting their thoughts and seeking input. In Shatabhisha, Mercury adds a questioning mind. They may collect external information, but sort it through an internal filter of logic and intuition. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are seen as thoughtful communicators, those who bridge inside-out perspectives through clever expression. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the frame of reference may begin as externally bound, shaped by duty, rules, or societal expectation, but gradually becomes internally anchored through experience. These individuals mature by questioning outer authority until they build their own. In Shatabhisha, Saturn gives cautious discernment. They only act when it feels right, despite social pressure. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are trusted for their quiet integrity, outsiders who earn respect over time. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the reference becomes internally inspired, driven by spiritual, philosophical, or value-based frameworks. These individuals are less concerned with approval and more with alignment to their inner sense of beauty, truth, or dharma. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter adds visionary anchoring. Venus adds refined self-worth. If either is in the 10th, they are admired for leading with conviction, unshaken by trends, centered in a deeper moral compass. Shatabhisha's frame of reference is like an underground spring of knowing, deep, quiet, and often invisible to others. These natives don't just act. They consult a private reservoir of truth before moving. Their growth lies in trusting this internal alignment even when it's misunderstood, and in learning to share their insight without needing to be externally validated. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the quiet knower, self-referencing with grace, using their internal lens to see through illusion and into healing, for themselves and the collective. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, action preference, proactive or reactive. Some individuals take initiative, acting proactively to shape outcomes and assert their vision, while others wait and respond, reacting to circumstances and emotional cues before moving. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, intensity, disruption, unconventional drive, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, hidden depths, transformative energy, generally exhibits a reactive style. These natives often wait until they have fully absorbed and processed what they sense before striking, using their acute perception to determine the precise moment to act. Yet, when the situation demands bold change, they can switch to a proactive approach, channeling their inner fire to initiate transformation with calculated force. Planetary placements in the 1st, 3rd, 6th, and 10th houses reveal how their action preference is expressed. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the action tendency can become hyper-proactive, driven by a relentless need to break free from limitations and to assert a unique identity. These individuals often push forward with unconventional vigor, even if that means acting before all details are clear. When Rahu is in the 10th, this intensity becomes visible in public life, where they are seen as trailblazers who challenge the status quo, though they may sometimes need to temper their impulses with reflective insight. If the moon is in the 4th or 7th house, the action style tends toward reactivity, responding to emotional signals and relational dynamics with sensitivity. These natives may wait until their inner environment feels secure before taking action. In Shatabhisha, the moon tempers their intensity by requiring a clear emotional cue, and if placed in the 10th, they are perceived as cautious yet intuitive leaders who act in alignment with their mood and the collective emotional tone. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, the approach becomes strategically proactive. These individuals plan and articulate their actions with precision. They analyze the situation thoroughly before moving and then act decisively when the intellectual clarity is achieved. In Shatabhisha, Mercury's influence helps them communicate their plans effectively, ensuring that their proactive moves are calculated and measured. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the action style is generally reactive and measured. They tend to delay movement until all risks are assessed and the situation is stable. In Shatabhisha, Saturn instills a sense of responsibility and caution, compelling these natives to act slowly but with purpose. When Saturn occupies the 10th house, their public actions are characterized by discipline and a long-term view, often waiting for the right moment to intervene rather than rushing headlong. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or ninth house, the action preference shifts toward a proactive, visionary approach. These individuals are inspired by higher ideals, beauty, and ethical truth. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter and Venus encourage them to move forward when their creative or spiritual vision calls, fueling actions with optimism and warmth. In the 10th house, this results in charismatic leadership that blends bold initiative with a deep sense of purpose and integrity. Shatabhisha's action style is like a hidden pulse waiting for the perfect moment to surge, balanced between careful observation and sudden transformative impact. Their strength lies in knowing when to hold back and when to unleash their unique power. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the master of timing, reacting with precision and initiating with inspired clarity, ensuring that every action is both necessary and profoundly transformative. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, operational style, options versus procedures. Some individuals prefer an options-based operational style, valuing freedom, flexibility, and improvisation. Others lean toward procedures, structured systems, step-by-step routines, and established methods. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, innovation, disruption, unconventional paths, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, containment, holistic systems, energetic repair, leans strongly toward an options-based style, especially in the early stages of life. These natives resist rigid structure, preferring to explore multiple pathways, solutions, or strategies. They often need to find their own way, experimenting with unconventional approaches and integrating what works on their terms. However, once a pattern proves effective, particularly in healing, research, or systems work, Shatabhisha can adopt procedural discipline, especially if it serves a larger mission of order, restoration, or service. Planetary placements in the 3rd, 6th, and 10th houses reveal how adaptable or system-bound they become. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the style is strongly options-driven. These individuals need to experiment, break rules, and test boundaries before settling into any one path. In Shatabhisha, Rahu amplifies the need to reinvent systems. They trust unconventional methods more than established procedures. If Rahu is in the 10th, their professional identity may be built around innovation, disruption, or alternative models. They create their own systems rather than follow someone else's. If the moon is in the 4th or 6th house, the style becomes emotionally attuned and more fluid, with preferences shifting based on internal states. These individuals need environments that feel emotionally safe and energetically balanced. In Shatabhisha, moon favors rhythmic flow over rigidity. They may follow rituals, but only if emotionally resonant. If moon is in the 10th, they're seen as emotionally intelligent workers, those who manage energy more than rules and who quietly adapt to what feels right in the moment. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, the operational style can become more balanced, with a blend of structured thinking and flexible implementation. These individuals may create hybrid models, procedures that are adjustable or layered with strategic options. In Shatabhisha, Mercury brings mental patterning. They thrive when systems are intelligent, not robotic. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are seen as systems thinkers, those who refine processes while keeping room for change. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the preference shifts toward procedures, especially those that bring order to internal or external chaos. These individuals may resist structure early on, but eventually come to respect it as a form of self-mastery or karmic repair. In Shatabhisha, Saturn brings healing through repetition. They discover that the right rituals restore fractured systems. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are seen as methodical professionals, trusted for their consistency in environments others find too complex. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the style becomes options-based with philosophical or aesthetic roots. These natives value freedom of choice, but their decisions are guided by internal codes, beauty, or wisdom. In Shatabhisha, Venus adds creative intuition, Jupiter, ethical structure. They follow what feels right and means something. If either is in the 10th, they are admired for bringing flow and grace into their operational style, moving between form and freedom with vision. Shatabhisha's operational intelligence is like a healing algorithm, fluid, nonlinear, and designed to restore harmony without constraint. These natives rarely follow a rule book unless they've rewritten it themselves. Their growth lies in discovering when freedom becomes fragmentation, and how to use procedures not as prisons, but as healing rhythms. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the intuitive systems innovator, blending structure and spaciousness, restoring order without rigidity, and operating from a place of quiet precision shaped by insight, not convention. Views, general or specific. Some individuals process the world through a general lens, seeing broad patterns, universal truths, or spiritual frameworks. Others operate with a specific view, focusing on technical detail, accuracy, and precise distinctions. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, expansion, paradox, disruption, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, wholeness, fragmentation, systems healing, leans toward a general view, especially when working with abstract ideas, hidden truths, or systemic patterns. These natives are wired to perceive wholes rather than parts. They intuitively grasp karmic cycles, group energy, or collective imbalance, often without needing to dissect every detail. However, when their sense of order or safety is threatened, Shatabhisha can momentarily shift into specific scrutiny, honing in on what's broken, missing, or misaligned within the larger field. Planetary placements in the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 10th houses help determine how fluidly they move between symbolic vision and analytic clarity. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the view is strongly general, with flashes of genius or visionary thinking. These individuals think in big patterns, energy systems, karmic loops, and collective change. In Shatabhisha, Rahu expands the mental field. They see what others don't, but may struggle to translate their vision into digestible parts. If Rahu is in the 10th, they're seen as futurists or outsiders, those who challenge mainstream views with expansive, sometimes unsettling insight. If the moon is in the 4th or 7th house, the view leans toward general through emotion, absorbing patterns of behavior, mood, or interpersonal dynamics. These individuals track emotional atmospheres more than logic. In Shatabhisha, moon brings psychic resonance. They feel the collective field and respond accordingly. If moon is in the 10th, they are perceived as intuitive leaders, able to read public or group energy in ways that are subtle but impactful. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, the perspective becomes more specific, particularly in how they communicate or process information. These individuals notice contradictions, technical errors, or the need for clarity. In Shatabhisha, Mercury helps anchor abstract awareness into detail. They can translate the vision. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are respected for their intellect, those who speak to complexity with precision and insight. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the view begins specific, especially when tied to duty, order, or structure. These individuals focus on fixing what's fragmented, often through long-term systems or discipline. In Shatabhisha, Saturn sharpens their analysis. They heal by restoring structure. If Saturn is in the 10th, they're seen as responsible troubleshooters, those who organize complexity without losing sight of the broader mission. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the view is general, oriented towards spiritual, ethical, or aesthetic patterns. These individuals understand the world symbolically or philosophically, linking events to meaning and beauty. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter gives wisdom through universality, and Venus brings healing through resonance. If either is in the 10th, they're known for graceful leadership, those who hold a wide view with heart and vision. Shatabhisha's perceptual gift is like a wide lens capturing energetic systems in motion. These natives instinctively track what lies beneath the surface, group patterns, ancestral codes, or karmic undercurrents. Their growth lies in knowing when to zoom in and when to let the view stay wide, when detail serves truth, and when it obscures it. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the cosmic diagnostician, seeing the whole, feeling the subtle, and guiding others back into energetic coherence, one insight at a time. Shatabhisha Nakshatra. Work preferences, together, proximity, or solo. Some individuals thrive working together in collaborative, communicative, team-driven environments. Others prefer proximity, independent work done near others, allowing for interaction without dependence. Some function best working entirely solo, valuing privacy, autonomy, and emotional or energetic boundaries. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, individualism, intensity, nonconformity, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, containment, privacy, sacred space, strongly prefers a solo work environment. These natives require space to think, heal, observe, and process. Their work style is deeply internal and intuitive. They often need time alone to mentally detangle, energetically recalibrate, or access their most visionary insights. However, in certain environments, especially those centered on research, innovation, or healing, they may work best in proximity, close enough to monitor or support others, but not entangled in constant collaboration. Planetary placements in the 3rd, 6th, and 10th houses help refine their functional preference. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the work style is highly solo. These individuals are driven by personal breakthroughs, inner transformation, or a need to remain unbound by others' pace or expectations. In Shatabhisha, Rahu intensifies this preference. They need time to follow unconventional thought trails. If Rahu is in the 10th, they're seen as independent contributors, trailblazers who create impact while staying emotionally detached from the crowd. If the moon is in the 4th or 6th house, the style leans toward proximity, particularly when emotional safety and energetic regulation are in place. These individuals may work quietly alongside others, but still need time to retreat and recharge. In Shatabhisha, moon adds sensitivity. They absorb the emotional climate and need spaciousness to maintain balance. If moon is in the 10th, they are seen as emotionally intuitive professionals, calm, present, but not overly exposed. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, the preference is for proximity with minimal interruption. These individuals enjoy sharing ideas or refining thoughts through low-pressure dialogue, but still require mental space for deep focus. In Shatabhisha, Mercury lends adaptability. They can function in advisory or analytical roles with quiet efficiency. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are known as thoughtful communicators, those who work best when they can direct the flow without distraction. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the style solidifies around solo or structured proximity, especially when systems, accountability, or healing require focus and integrity. These natives often work behind the scenes or in long-haul roles that reward endurance over attention. In Shatabhisha, Saturn gives them the ability to work in solitude without losing purpose. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are seen as dependable fixers, those who carry invisible weight and don't require applause. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the preference may shift toward proximity, especially in creative, spiritual, or service roles. These individuals are often inspired by shared ideals or compassionate purpose, but still maintain a distinct personal space. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter expands vision while Venus softens boundaries. They may advise or mentor, but prefer environments that respect personal rhythm. If either is in the 10th, they are seen as subtle influencers, those who uplift from just outside the spotlight. Shatabhisha's ideal work environment is like a sacred observatory, private, focused, and energetically protected. These natives need solitude to do their best thinking, but can support others when the energetic container is clean and purposeful. Their growth lies in creating work rhythms that protect their sensitivity while still allowing their gifts to reach the collective. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the solitary healer, the hidden innovator, the one who works alone not to isolate, but to align deeply with truth, transformation, and quiet mastery. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, experience, association versus dissociation. Some individuals move through life in full association, emotionally present, embodied, and engaged in their experiences. Others operate through dissociation, mentally observing from a distance, emotionally detaching, or suppressing intensity to maintain control. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, disruption, disconnection, karmic transformation, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, containment, concealment, sacred separation, leans strongly toward dissociation, especially in its early expression. These natives often experience life from a detached, observational state, monitoring rather than immersing, analyzing instead of feeling. This isn't out of apathy. It's a protective mechanism born from deep sensitivity, psychic overload, or emotional overwhelm. However, when healed and internally grounded, Shatabhisha can shift into association, especially in service, ritual, or sacred connection, allowing themselves to fully feel while still holding boundaries. Planetary placements in the 4th, 5th, and 10th houses shape whether their experience becomes more integrated or remains distanced. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the dissociation is part of the identity. These individuals may feel like observers of their own life, always slightly removed or performing a role. In Shatabhisha, Rahu intensifies existential distance. They seek meaning but may avoid direct emotional vulnerability. If Rahu is in the 10th, they are seen as cool, strategic, or enigmatic. Those who manage presence carefully, often leading without showing their full emotional self. If the moon is in the 4th or 5th house, there is a greater capacity for association, particularly in private or creative spaces. These natives feel deeply, but may not share easily, choosing internal emotional processing over external expression. In Shatabhisha, moon adds depth to the dissociation. They feel, but compartmentalize. If moon is in the 10th, they are seen as composed leaders, those who feel intensely but reveal selectively. If Mercury is in the 5th or 10th house, the dissociation becomes mentalized. These individuals process emotions through logic, often stepping out of experience to analyze or explain it. In Shatabhisha, Mercury sharpens intellectual dissociation. They may articulate pain without actually feeling it in real time. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are seen as articulate professionals, those who manage crises with calm words and thoughtful detachment. If Saturn is in the 4th or 10th house, the dissociation is defensive and karmic, driven by fear of emotional collapse, duty, or inherited emotional suppression. These individuals may learn to remain emotionally distant to function or survive. In Shatabhisha, Saturn makes dissociation feel like strength. They endure by compartmentalizing. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are seen as reliable but emotionally reserved. Those who carry heavy emotional loads privately while appearing stoic in public. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the native is more capable of healthy association, especially through spiritual connection, love, or creative expression. These individuals begin to heal dissociation by reconnecting to beauty, trust, and moral truth. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter adds meaning and Venus adds warmth. They re-enter emotional presence when it serves healing. If either is in the 10th, they are seen as wise, compassionate leaders, those who carry grace even while maintaining inner distance. Shatabhisha's experience of life is like watching from behind a veil, sensing everything, yet engaging only when safe or spiritually aligned. These natives often protect their sensitivity through emotional withdrawal, but this very distance can become their insight. Their growth lies in learning when to step fully into presence, when to feel, connect, and heal through immersion, not just observation. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the sacred witness, able to hold space for pain, truth, and transformation without drowning in the storm. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, approach, matching versus mismatching. Some individuals naturally use a matching approach, looking for similarities, harmony, and confirmation. Others lean toward a mismatching approach, noticing what's off, misaligned, or unspoken. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, disruption, detachment, paradox, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, containment, analysis, hidden systems, strongly leans toward a mismatching style of perception. These natives are wired to detect what doesn't fit, whether it's in logic, energy, behavior, or group dynamics. Their healing instincts are often activated by a sense that something's not right. They are natural diagnostic thinkers, drawn to reveal dysfunction in systems, relationships, or emotions. While they are capable of adopting a matching approach, especially when working toward restoration, wholeness, or group coherence, their first instinct is often to question, probe, and deconstruct. Planetary placements in the 3rd, 6th, and 10th houses influence how direct or restrained this tendency becomes. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the mismatching is part of their identity. These individuals are often rebellious, contrarian, or intensely self-aware of what separates them from others. In Shatabhisha, Rahu amplifies the instinct to seek what's missing or broken. They may challenge norms, question social assumptions, or constantly feel like an outsider seeing what others overlook. If Rahu is in the 10th, this becomes a public trait. They're seen as rule breakers, reformers, or those who disrupt to heal. If the moon is in the 4th or 7th house, mismatching becomes emotional and internal. These individuals feel emotional friction when something is off, even if they can't immediately explain it. In Shatabhisha, moon makes them energetically sensitive. They mismatch through feelings and silence. If moon is in the 10th, they are intuitive leaders, those who sense dysfunction in group dynamics and can course correct subtly. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, mismatching becomes verbal and intellectual. These natives pick up on contradictions in speech, tone, or logic. In Shatabhisha, Mercury brings sharp insight. They question assumptions and spot inconsistencies quickly. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are often respected for their analytical mind, able to challenge ideas without aggression, but with piercing clarity. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, mismatching becomes systematic. These individuals are slow to judge, but over time, they notice patterns of inefficiency, disorder, or emotional avoidance. In Shatabhisha, Saturn adds patience and depth. They mismatch to repair, not to attack. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are seen as serious professionals, those who uphold high standards by quietly identifying and correcting what's broken. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, the approach softens toward matching, especially in the realms of values, beauty, or wisdom. These individuals may still see what's wrong, but prefer to focus on what can be harmonized, uplifted, or unified. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter and Venus bring balance. They help integrate the mismatching instinct into a purpose-driven or healing path. If either is in the 10th, they are seen as graceful problem solvers, those who name what's wrong in order to make things right. Shatabhisha's cognitive style is like a psychic scan, searching for the imbalance in the system. These natives are attuned to what others avoid: emotional fractures, systemic dysfunction, hidden wounds. Their gift is in seeing what doesn't match, not to condemn, but to restore. Their growth lies in knowing when to challenge and when to accept, when to highlight the gap, and when to build a bridge. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the karmic adjuster, disrupting what's false in order to restore what's whole. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, time experience. In time versus through time. Some individuals live in time, deeply immersed in the present moment, emotionally responsive to what's unfolding now. Others experience life through time, tracking patterns, consequences, and karmic arcs across past, present, and future. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, illusion, vision, nonlinearity, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, wholeness, fragmentation, hidden cycles, leans toward a through-time experience, though not in a linear sense. These natives process time cyclically or symbolically. They often revisit past wounds, decode karmic loops, or sense future consequences well before others do. Their perception of time is deeply intuitive and layered. They don't just see events, they feel timelines. However, when emotionally overwhelmed, in crisis, or caught in the intensity of the now, Shatabhisha can drop into an in-time state, reactive, hypersensitive, or frozen in the immediate. Planetary placements in the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th houses determine whether they tend to track long-term rhythms or get swept into the urgency of the present. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the experience is often in time, fast-paced, present-obsessed, or urgency-driven. These natives may chase experience, identity, or validation in the now without seeing the karmic threads they're pulling. In Shatabhisha, Rahu adds hunger to the moment. They may feel stuck in repeating patterns until they pause and see the bigger timeline. If Rahu is in the 10th, they may rise quickly, seen as intense and driven, but must learn to lead with long-term vision, not just momentary ambition. If the moon is in the 4th or 7th house, the time experience becomes emotionally cyclical, pulling them through time memory loops, past pain, emotional echoes, and subtle psychic time signatures. These individuals feel time through the body and emotions rather than clocks. In Shatabhisha, moon deepens their ability to reflect and heal through emotional cycles. If moon is in the 10th, they are seen as emotionally wise, leaders who hold space for the past while managing the present. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, the experience is firmly through time, structured, patient, and karmically aware. These individuals measure progress across years, not days, and are often conscious of legacy and long-term impact. In Shatabhisha, Saturn adds gravity. They may seem slow to act, but they're aligning with cosmic timing. If Saturn is in the 10th, they're seen as enduring professionals, those who carry time like a burden and a blessing. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, the experience may toggle between in-time responsiveness, mental quickness, and through-time reflection, pattern recognition. These natives are thinkers who can respond rapidly, but they often process the deeper meaning later. In Shatabhisha, Mercury brings clarity to karmic complexity. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are seen as insightful communicators, those who can connect present action to broader purpose. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, time becomes spiritually through time, viewed through moral, artistic, or cosmic patterns. These individuals act when the soul calls, not the clock. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter expands vision. Venus adds beauty and resonance. If either is in the 10th, they are seen as wise or graceful mentors, those who move with patience, aligning present action with long-term soul truth. Shatabhisha's experience of time is like standing inside a constellation, connected to everything, yet difficult to navigate in a straight line. These natives are time travelers in their own right, sensing karmic echoes, healing timelines, and disrupting cycles. Their growth lies in learning when to stay present and when to zoom out, when to trust the moment, and when to honor the larger arc. When balanced, Shatabhisha becomes the rhythmic navigator, living through time not just as a clock, but as a sacred map of healing, meaning, and return. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, primary interest motivation, people, activities, places, or things. Each person is naturally drawn toward certain motivational anchors. People, relationships, connection, emotional bonds. Activities, learning, doing, exploring. Places, sacred, healing, or grounding environments. Or things, tools, systems, resources. Shatabhisha Nakshatra, ruled by Rahu, obsession, depth, detachment, and symbolized by the circle or 100 healers, containment, sacred boundaries, systems repair, is primarily motivated by places and activities, but not in the conventional sense. These natives are driven by invisible containers, mental, emotional, or spiritual spaces where they can reflect, heal, investigate, or restore order. They are drawn to isolated, sacred, or liminal places where the unconscious becomes accessible. At the same time, their activities often revolve around observation, research, deep healing, or exposing hidden truths. People and things may matter, but only when they serve the process of deeper understanding or recovery. Planetary placements in the 1st, 3rd, 6th, and 10th houses reveal which motivations surface most clearly in daily life or professional expression. If Rahu is in the 1st or 5th house, the native is motivated by activities that involve transformation, recognition, or unconventional mastery. These individuals may obsessively pursue insight, innovation, or a mission they feel karmically tied to. In Shatabhisha, Rahu adds intensity. They are propelled to investigate and become something beyond the ordinary. If Rahu is in the 10th, their work is fueled by this pursuit. They may be known for shaking up systems, reforming institutions, or revealing truths others overlook. If the moon is in the 4th or 7th house, people become a quiet but significant motivator, particularly in emotional or energetic relationships. These individuals may feel internally bound to others' healing journeys or unresolved karmic connections. In Shatabhisha, moon makes them selective about relationships. They are drawn to people who reflect their deeper wounds or truths. If moon is in the 10th, they may work in roles that involve caring, holding space, or managing emotional complexity for groups or communities. If Mercury is in the 3rd or 10th house, the motivation centers around activities that involve systems, communication, or analysis. These individuals are driven to make sense of chaos, decoding language, patterns, or mental inconsistencies. In Shatabhisha, Mercury adds brilliance. They are motivated by figuring out what's not working and restoring function. If Mercury is in the 10th, they are seen as sharp thinkers or troubleshooters, those who work behind the scenes to fix what's broken. If Saturn is in the 6th or 10th house, Things, especially structures, responsibilities, or processes, become the core motivation. These natives are driven by the need to create lasting impact, organize complexity, and fulfill duty. In Shatabhisha, Saturn adds weight. They often serve as guardians of order, even if invisible to others. If Saturn is in the 10th, they are viewed as quiet, effective leaders, those who manage pressure while keeping systems intact. If Jupiter or Venus is in the 5th or 9th house, places become spiritually and aesthetically charged. These individuals are drawn to temples, retreats, libraries, or metaphysical realms, spaces that allow for beauty, reflection, or transcendence. In Shatabhisha, Jupiter brings higher purpose and Venus, refined awareness. They may be motivated by the search for sacred space and meaning. If either is in the 10th, their work reflects this. They become guides, counselors, or artists of transformation who lead by creating energetic containers for others to grow within. Shatabhisha's motivation is like a hidden doorway between the visible and the invisible. These natives don't move for surface reasons. They are called into action by depth, resonance, and mystery. Their drive is often karmic, and their work is rarely about recognition. It's about restoration. Their growth lies in choosing spaces and actions that reflect their soul's real task, not just to fix, but to understand, witness, and ultimately heal what others are afraid to see. When aligned, Shatabhisha becomes the sacred repairer, drawn to what lies in the shadows and moved to make it whole.